statement about Shaq's injury. I am unfortunately able to confirm that it is a fractured fibula, and he did have a successful surgery this morning. He's doing well, but he will likely miss the remainder of the season. So that tough loss. Obviously, he's a great player. He's our emotional leader. I know the guys will pick it up for him, and I know he's behind us and supporting us in every way he can. So I'll open it up from there.
All right, let's go to Mike K, followed by David Newton.
Frank, to just switch gears to the offense, after watching the tape, how can you make life easier for Bryce?
Stay in phase is the big thing. Get the run game going. Felt like in week one, we did a good job with the run game. We were able to stay in phase for the most part, 150 yards rushing. That's always a very good day. But in week two, we just got out of phase early, and it was a weird game from that. I think we had 25 plays in the first half. The last 13 plays of the game are 2 minutes. So you almost have to take those last 13 plays out. That leaves 49 plays. And then in those first 25 plays, I think there's, if my memory serves me correctly, there's 8 first and 10s. And then there's 8 what I would call out of phase calls: 1st and 15, 1st and 20, 2nd and 14, 2nd and 9, 2nd and 9. We have to stay in phase. So that's the number one thing. We got to, so that we get to manageable third downs, get the run game going like we did in week one. And then stay in phase. And then, and then we got to execute. We got to continue to execute and not set ourselves backwards.
Coach, having said that, how much does that have to do with the protection Bryce is getting and the run blocking?
I mean, it has, yeah. I mean, every play, everybody's assignment it's critically important. So, again, yesterday there was plenty of positive examples of good blocking, run and pass, but some things we need to clean up. And things I believe we will clean up. I believe we have the players and the coaches to get those things cleaned up. It's still early. It's, we got to own and accept the loss that we put up. I'm the head coach, so that starts with me. But we're also very confident and optimistic that we'll get things right.
And to follow up on Shaq, kind of what is the plan moving forward without him, excuse me?
Yeah, no, fair question. We'll probably address that as we go here this week. Scott and I have talked. I've talked with EJ, at length. We've talked about that plan, but not ready to lay out exactly what that's going to be at this point.
Be an addition of a player bringing in, is somebody you're looking at, though? Is that a possibility? You feel like that'll be filled within the roster?
We'll look at all options. We have an initial plan in mind, and we'll sit. Right. I mean, it's obviously a pretty quick turnaround here, so
right.
I've had initial conversations, and I know you guys can understand. We want to double and triple check things and confirm things before we move forward.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to Darren Gant, followed by Joe Person.
Frank, there were a couple instances yesterday where you brought Andy Dalton onto the field for short yardage situations. One was a play, there was a penalty pre-snap. Is that going to be the plan moving forward? And how, given Bryce's size limitations, do you guys think conceptually about short yardage running?
Yeah, that could be part of the plan. It's always a week-to-week plan, right? Every opponent is a different opponent. So that'll be a weekly decision. Andy's a very experienced guy. So, if we're bringing him in there to do whatever we're bringing him in there to do, we feel like he'll do a good job of it. That's not unprecedented by any stretch of the imagination for me. I mean, there was 1 year previously, that we had Jacoby Brissett. We brought him in on some short yardage situations to do a variety of things. And I know you guys can understand why I don't want to go into all I don't want to say, like, there's a lot of different things we could do, but I just feel very comfortable in Andy, and some of those things you just want to limit the exposure of Bryce to us. And Bryce can do any of it. But you got an experienced veteran. There's no golden rule that says he can't come in and play a couple plays in the game. I mean, look what the Saints did. I mean, I know it's Taysom Hill's a different story, but why not do that to a lesser extent if it can be utilized in a positive way?
Hey, Frank, where Bryce is concerned, you guys had success that last drive with the hurry up. Some of that may have been a product of how they were defending you, but is there any concern that he processes things so well that when you're kind of moving slowly, getting in and out of the huddle, that he could potentially overthink some things?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, probably a fair question, but I don't think so, Joe. Yeah, I think he does a good job of kind of staying in the moment, staying in the present. Yeah, and I thought just by point of reference there, like I thought the mechanics of the communication and operation, although it wasn't flawless, improved from week 1 to week 2. There was still a minor hiccup or two there, and it wasn't flawless. I'm not saying it was, but I thought that was better, and I think that will continue to get better as we go.
Wanted to ask you too, just how you thought Camus came in and played.
Yeah, he played very well. He played very well, and obviously it was playing a bunch of special teams, and then we took him off of teams. But he came in there and did a good job. That did not surprise me. I mean, I've known Camus, worked with Camus before. As I mentioned to you guys once before, he's played some football. I've gone up against him, played against him, when he was coached against him, I should say, when he was a starting linebacker for Houston. So have a lot of respect for what he did yesterday.
Let's go to Steve Reed, followed by John Ellis.
Hey, Frank. Sorry to hear about Shaq, of course. I just wonder what things are you going to miss the most about him? Obviously, he's been a guy that's not only a good player, but as you said, a leader around here. What things are you going to miss about him?
It's hard to put that in words. Like he is, like we talk about a brotherhood. He's just a close brother. This is a warrior. This is a guy who knows how to practice. He knows how to play. He's a team first player. I was texting him last night, and he's already talking about trying to figure ways he's going to get back. This is before he has all the news, all the stuff, but trying to figure out a way he's going to help the team. These injuries hurt, but as I said yesterday, and will continue to say, the train's got to keep going on, and you can love your brother and feel bad for your brother, and at the same time understand we got to have the next man up mentality.
John, I think you're on mute.
Yes, I am. Sorry. Frank, how you doing? John Ellis.
Hey, John.
Frankie Louvu has been, as you mentioned, I thought you said earlier in the training camp season, maybe the steal of the century. I don't know what the quote was, but I thought personally he had one of the best linebacker games I've seen in a long time for this team. Talk about not only the fundamental part of his game, but the energy he brings now with Shaq out, especially how important that is to your unit there.
It's a big deal. As you said, he does have this, he has this energy about him that is infectious. It's contagious. We all recognize it. We all feel it. He's a very smart player. Like this guy is wicked smart. The way he plays this game, we can use him in versatile ways. He gets the sacks. He can play, at the line of scrimmage. He can play in the second level. He can rush inside. He can rush outside. Cannot, underestimate the value he has to our team.
Let's go to Skylar Callahan, followed by Jeff Hawkins.
Hey, Frank, I think Laviska's had like 5 touches in these first 2 games. I know you have something that you were really excited about in the preseason. Is that just a factor of not being able to get ahead of the chains and getting into the flow of the offense in terms of his touches?
That's a little bit of the factor, but we got to do a better job. We as coaches have to do a better job of, finding a way to get him a few more touches. You know, saw the one run yesterday. He made a great individual effort on the run. And there was stuff up for him. I can assure you that here and there. Some of it, especially in week one and to some degree in week two. But yeah, we have to continue to find ways to get Laviska involved.
Hey, Coach Jeff Hawkins. Good morning.
Hey, Jeff.
During off season, you spoke of how you liked the tight end room. Are you concerned with the number of targets they're receiving?
No, I mean, 2 games into it, you know, obviously Hayden was the leading receiver in week one, if I recall correctly. So yesterday was, you know, not so much the case, but we'll continue. I think we'll need to feel that out over time. Like I said, tight ends have played a significant role in our offense. We're going to spread the ball around, and some of it is, you know, we're going to spread it around. We get to know the players better and better, get the feel for Bryce and what he likes and how he likes to utilize those guys. That's why this has all been very valuable. You know, we're learning on the go, but we're also, you know, got to find ways to play winning football as we're moving forward.
All right, we got time for a few more. Let's go to Mike K and finish with Vashti Hurt.
Frank, we saw a pretty big drop off in Jeremy Chin's playing percentages in this game. Obviously, the Saints dropped back a lot more. How much did that factor into his usage, as well as wanting to get Troy Hill involved and also Shaq kind of being out as well?
I'm sorry, Mike, the first part of that.
We saw a pretty big drop off in percentages. Obviously, you guys played a lot more plays on defense this week. How much of a factor did that? How much was the Saints passing game a factor in that, as well as Shaq obviously being out after the first quarter and wanting to get Troy Hill kind of more involved?
I think it was a combination of things. As you said, I thought, you know, early on in the game, I thought our defense, we were playing lights out. Obviously played great red zone defense. We played good red zone defense, and we limited explosives. You know, Carr found a way to, you know, make a few plays here and there, you know, some short dink and dunks to keep a few things alive, you know, and then obviously hit the 2 big plays in the second half. So, hey, listen, we knew we were going up against a guy, you know, in Carr, and there are weapons as receivers that, you know, they're going to complete some balls. So I think it was a combination of those things.
All right, Coach, I apologize if it's noisy in the background. It seemed that the receivers had a bit of issues with getting separation. Is that something that you work on during practice, or how do you fix that issue with getting separation so that Bryce can find open pieces downfield?
You know, when I look back on the tape from this game, there's certainly going to be corrections with the receivers on a couple things, but you know, I thought the route running, obviously, right, we're always going to say I can coach better, everybody can play better, and a couple of the routes can get better. But what I saw on tape was, you know, was a group that I have a lot of confidence in. You know, I didn't feel like one of the things I think was underestimated, obviously, as bad as it was on offense yesterday. I think you got to give the Saints credit, right? That defense, and I sometimes think this gets overlooked when you have a bad game. That defense, right, and we all know, has been 10 games now, hasn't let up 20 points. And nobody's even close to that. 2 is the next closest one. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. That's a very salty defense that is very experienced in a system that has been very productive. And, you know, I thought we were going to light it up. I thought we were going to break that streak, and that was our intent. But I can't pinpoint that on the receivers. I think that was a coaching, playing, all of us together thing. I think our defense gave us a chance early on, you know, playing as well as they did, and we just couldn't get out of the rut offensively. And I honestly give the Saints a lot of credit in the whole thing.
Just as a quick follow-up, you know, heading into the season, I think everybody had expectations of the explosive plays, lighting it up offensively. When you kind of struggle out of the gates, how do you keep not just the team, but especially Bryce as a young quarterback from getting discouraged when he doesn't find that immediate success?
Yeah, that's great. We just have to, we all know, we look at it, and we all know that we can do better, right? All of us, coaching, set it up better, play better. And so we can look at the tape. The one way to do it is you look at the tape, you say, oh yeah, we did miss some opportunities here or there, whatever it is. Not, like I said, I'm never going to single any coach or any player out. But there have been opportunities in 2 games for multiple big plays that we just haven't hit on at this point. So, but that tells us that we got the guys and we got the people we need and we can make these plays. But secondly, you know, we have to find ways to continue to execute better, get on the details better, keep us in phase more often so we get a chance to call more and more of those kind of shot plays, those chunk plays on good down and distance situations.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.